The story for Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome is Max is rescued by a tribe of children when he is banished from a desert town and sent into the desert to die by the desert town's evil queen. This one is a peculiar film. It follows the same formula as the previous two films, but this one runs at a different pace and throws a Peter Pan-like scenario into the mix. The town is called Bartertown. It is very well designed and looks really believable. From the top floor where people trade and barter or whatever, all the way down to the the shit factory below that supplies the energy to the top. Much like the previous film, the costumes are very much something you would see in an 80s post-apocalyptic movie. It wouldn't surprise me if they started it. They have the leather chains, etc., but they added metal to the mix. One character, Blaster, has metal plating on him as a helmet. And the character of Auntie wears chainmail and has bleached poofy hair as well as raised shoulders. And these additions to the costume adds to the characters, give more sense of class in the society of Bartertown. In the case of Blaster, a sense of danger. The tribe of children looks like something out of Peter Pan, and act like something out of Peter Pan. Their clothing is put together from things probably from when they were young and or born and found. Their camp is a beautiful sight in this oasis in a canyon with lush greens and crystal clear water. At first, the whole story with the tribe of children is hard to swallow, but over time becomes accepted. In fact, the whole reason the children are like this is quite interesting. During the war, a Captain Walker took people in his plane and it crashed, and he took them to this location, and he eventually left, promising to return and take them back to the cities, which they call Tomorrow Land. And eventually this became a religion to the descendants of the original people. Unfortunately, the children think Max is this Captain Walker, and he has to tell them that the cities are gone because of the apocalypse. It becomes hard for them to understand the truth and therefore run away, and Max has to help them. Tina Turner plays the role of Auntie, and plays it very well. She doesn't play it too strongly, nor weak. She plays it like a real leader of a town, almost general-like. The action and chase sequences in the film, much like the other films, are great, especially the fight scene in the Thunderdome. It is a really fun scene involving bungee cords, chainsaws, and anything not nailed down. In fact, they actually fly across the dome and the bungee cords bump around and actually bumping into each other, punching and whatever. It was great. And it was well choreographed and edited. A fight scene worthy of praise. And the build-up to it was great, involving this guy in a long black coat with long black hair and carries around a black staff with like a metal orb on top of it. In fact, I think it's a skull. I don't know, I can't remember. He looks like a vulture, almost. This guy acts like an announcer and sets the tone and builds up the tension to a satisfactory payoff with the fight. There is a character named Jedediah the pilot who flies a small plane. He is played by Bruce Spence, and the character has no relation to the gyrocopter pilot in The Road Warrior. Why they had the same actor play two different roles in the films, I do not know. But he is there. It's not a problem, it's just something to point out so you don't get confused. I give this film 4.5 stars out of 5. I give it 4.5 because there doesn't seem to be a proper balance in the film between the Bartertown storyline and the storyline with the tribes of children. It just feels off-kilter a little and swings the film into a different direction too quickly. The film would be a little better if they left in some of the scenes they took out for time's sake. One involving Max having a dream about his wife and realizing he is no better than the people he used to hunt as a police officer. And the other is a scene where a child is dying and they see Bartertown. Max tells the kid, as he is dying, that they have reached Tomorrow Land and are home. These scenes would have brought Max full circle and be a more rounded character in the film. And it would have been nice to see that. And that is the Mad Max trilogy. And soon there will be more added to these films. In September, a game will be released, and next year, another film called Mad Max Fury Road will premiere that stars Tom Hardy as Max. Can't wait to see these new additions to the series. I have been a fan of this trilogy since I was a kid. I first saw these movies on TV, out of order on TV, but on TV nonetheless, and saw Thunderdome again when my dad bought the DVD years ago when DVDs were just coming out, and to replace VHS as home video. I recently got the Blu-rays and have not seen all these films in 20 years. So it was nice to see these films again and to do a review on them. And one last thing before I go. I am disappointed in you, Internet. I am very disappointed. The 11th Doctor is nicknamed Raggedy Man. When Auntie first sees Max, she calls him a Raggedy Man. And no one thought to Photoshop Matt Smith still wearing the ragged 10th Doctor's clothes in that scene. Disappointed. And while I'm on the subject, this movie came out in 1985. So Matt Smith being called Raggedy Man may be a reference to this movie. Something to think about, my fellow Whovians. Something to think about.